At 59, Scottie Pippen breaks his silence, and what he says shocks the entire basketball world. Once the quiet backbone of the Chicago Bulls dynasty, Pippen has carried decades of silent frustration. But now, he finally speaks out, revealing the 5 names that still haunt him, the ones he'll never forgive. Was it jealousy, betrayal, or wounds that never healed after years under Michael Jordan's shadow? The truth, raw and unfiltered, shows that behind every championship ring lies pain, ego, and broken trust. And now, it's time to face it all. Here are the 5 names Scottie Pippen says he hates the most. 5 stories deeper than anyone ever imagined. Number 5. Charles Barkley. They were once friends, 2 legends bound by respect and mutual admiration. Scottie Pippen and Charles Barkley shared the same courts, the same spotlight, and at times even the same enemies. But everything changed after the spotlight dimmed. Insiders recall that the tension began when Barkley accused Pippen of being bitter and jealous after the Last Dance documentary aired. Pippen felt betrayed, not just by the words, but by the tone, as if Barkley had joined the chorus mocking his legacy. Witnesses from old Bulls gatherings remember how Pippen's expression hardened whenever Barkley's name came up. "He talks too much," Pippen once muttered during a private interview. It wasn't about friendly banter anymore, it was about loyalty, respect, and pride. The scandal reached its peak when Barkley publicly mocked Pippen's personal struggles, laughing about his divorce and financial losses. For Pippen, that was the final straw. From that day, the friendship was over. Behind the cameras, insiders say Pippen's anger wasn't just about insult. It was about betrayal by someone who knew his pain. A man he once called brother had turned his pain into a punchline. Number 4. Toni Kukoč. To the public, they were teammates chasing the same dream. But behind the championship banners and ESPN highlights, Scottie Pippen and Toni Kukoč lived through one of the coldest, most silent wars in Chicago Bulls history. From the moment Kukoč arrived, insiders remember the shift in Pippen's eyes. Management adored the young European star, his shooting, his flair, his promise. But for Pippen, who had spent years fighting for recognition and fair pay, Kukoč wasn't just a new teammate, he was a symbol of disrespect. The infamous moment came during the 1994 playoffs, when coach Phil Jackson drew the final play, not for Pippen, the trusted leader in Jordan's absence, but for Kukoč. Witnesses swear they saw Pippen's face turn to stone. He refused to enter the court. It wasn't ego, it was heartbreak. All season long, he had carried the Bulls. At the most crucial moment, they chose someone else. The shot went in. The world cheered, and Pippen's resentment became permanent. Years later, when the topic resurfaced, Kukoč claimed it wasn't personal, but insiders say Pippen never bought that. To him, it was the ultimate betrayal, being erased in the one moment he needed to be believed in. Even now, at 59, whenever Pippen speaks about respect, authority, or trust, those close to him swear he's still talking about that night, and about Toni Kukoč. Number 3. Michael Jordan. This name was inevitable. For decades, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan were the perfect illusion, the ultimate duo, the unstoppable force, the dynasty that defined an era. But behind the 6 rings, behind the glory, lies a story soaked in ego, imbalance, and wounds that fame only made deeper. Insiders say the resentment began long before the Last Dance. Pippen carried the defense, the playmaking, the dirty work, yet the world worshipped only Jordan. Producers who worked with the Bulls in the 90s recall how often Pippen's contributions were edited down, trimmed, or erased entirely to make room for the Jordan narrative. But the real fracture came with The Last Dance. Jordan's commentary, dismissive, cold, almost condescending, hit Pippen like a knife. Witnesses say Pippen watched the documentary alone at home, stone-faced, barely moving. When he finally spoke about it, he said Jordan wasn't a good teammate. But privately, insiders claim his anger ran far deeper. Then came the final blow. During a backstage interview, Jordan allegedly laughed when someone mentioned Pippen's contract struggles, saying, "He signed it, not my problem." That comment spread through NBA circles like wildfire. Pippen never forgave him. To this day, people close to Pippen insist that no amount of championships can erase the feeling of being overshadowed, used, and dismissed. At 59, when he lists the names he hates the most, Michael Jordan isn't just on the list, he is the reason the list exists. Number 2, Reggie Miller. If there was ever a rival who knew how to crawl under Scottie Pippen's skin, it was Reggie Miller, the man who weaponized trash talk like no one else in NBA history. Their battles were never just basketball. They were psychological warfare, broadcast live on national television. Insiders who witnessed the Bulls-Pacers rivalry say that Miller targeted Pippen with surgical precision. He didn't just attack the Bulls, he attacked Pippen's pride. During one heated game, witnesses swear Miller whispered, "You'll always be second," a line that followed Pippen long after the buzzer. For Pippen, who spent years fighting to escape Jordan's shadow, the insult cut deeper than Miller ever knew. The moment that sealed their hatred came in the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals. Cameras missed it, but staff members reported a confrontation in the tunnel where Miller mocked Pippen's back injury, calling him fragile and overrated. Pippen had to be held back by teammates. It wasn't showmanship, it was personal. Producers covering that series later admitted they avoided airing certain audio because it was too vicious. Miller didn't just provoke, he dismantled, humiliated, and pushed Pippen to his breaking point. Even today, when Pippen reflects on his most bitter opponents, insiders say Miller's name emerges with a tension that never left his voice. A rivalry born on the court, but fueled by words that bruised far deeper than any elbow. Number 1, Phil Jackson. This is the name no one expected, but the one insiders always whispered about. Phil Jackson, the Zen master, the architect of the Bulls dynasty, the coach praised for his wisdom and serenity. But for Scottie Pippen, behind the calm voice and triangle offense, there was a wound that never healed. Everything traces back to a single moment, the 1994 playoffs. With Jordan retired, it was finally Pippen's team. His moment, his chance to prove he wasn't just a sidekick. But when the game hung in the balance, Phil Jackson drew the final play, not for the man who carried the Bulls all year, but for Toni Kukoč. Witnesses still remember Pippen's face, shock, hurt, betrayal, a look that said more than words ever could. Insiders later revealed that Pippen felt humiliated, stripped of the respect he had earned over 7 relentless seasons. To him, Jackson's decision wasn't tactical, it was personal. Years passed, but the resentment grew. When Pippen publicly called Jackson racist decades later, those close to him said it wasn't a sudden outburst. It was the eruption of anger he'd buried since that night. Producers from The Last Dance claimed Pippen refused to refilm certain segments because Phil will never get another minute from me. Behind the championships lies a truth few fans know. Pippen didn't hate Jackson for the play itself. He hated him for choosing that moment, the one moment Pippen needed trust the most, to tell the world he wasn't good enough. And at 59, when he names the people he hates the most, Phil Jackson stands at the top, not because of strategy or conflict, but because betrayal from a mentor hurts deeper than betrayal from any rival. Insiders reveal one final detail that ignites everything. In 1995, Scottie Pippen accidentally overheard Phil Jackson telling the front office, "The Bulls can win without Scottie." That single sentence, quiet but brutal, became the deepest wound of his career, deeper than any clash with Jordan, any taunt from Reggie Miller, or any moment he felt replaced by Toni Kukoč. And now, at 59, when Pippen reveals the 5 names he hates the most, people finally understand. This isn't just a list of rivals, it's a list of scars. Each name marks a moment he felt dismissed, underestimated, or betrayed. By speaking these truths aloud, Pippen is finally confronting the past that shaped him. A past that proves behind every championship glow, there are shadows that never truly disappear.